Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I am Captain Sarda, and I am your narrator for today's event. On behalf of the men and women of the 62nd Medical Squadron, welcome to today's Change of Command ceremony. Today's ceremony is an outdoor event. Please silence any electronic devices at this time. As a quick safety reminder to all, there are exits directly in front of or behind you in this hangar. Please take a quick look as to which exit is closest to you in the event of an emergency. Keep in mind that if you have to exit the hangar due to an emergency on the non-flight line side, which is behind you, please assemble in the parking lot area across from the main road. For those exiting to the flight line side, which is in front of you, please gather at the pavilion to the north side of the flight line, which is towards the adjacent hangar number 10. Thank you. The Change of Command ceremony has a rich military history dating back to the reign of Frederick the Great of Prussia during the 18th century. At that time, organizational flags were developed with color arrangements and symbols unique to each unit. To this flag and its commander, soldiers of the unit would dedicate their loyalty and trust. When a change of command was to take place, the flag was passed to the individual assuming command in front of the unit so all could witness the new leader assuming their official position. The colors are the commander's symbol of authority, representing their responsibilities to the organization and reside wherever the commander resides. Master Sergeant Christopher Franken serves as the custodian of the colors and is the enlisted airman spokesman to the commander. When the ceremony begins, Master Sergeant Franken presents the colors to Colonel McCoy for the last time. Colonel McCoy will then present the colors to Colonel Fazenbaker, relinquishing his responsibility and authority. Colonel Fazenbaker will then present the colors and all they represent to the new commander, Colonel Orth, who assumes the responsibility of command. Colonel Orth then returns the colors to Master Sergeant Franken, marking the official transfer of command. This symbolic tradition has survived throughout military history and is the key event in today's ceremony. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the entrance of the official party and remain standing for the presenting of the colors, the national anthem sung by Master Sergeant Naomi Thompson, and the invocation offered by Chaplain Von Allman.
Sir, 62nd Medical Squadron. Present the colors.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled
join me for a moment of prayer. Today, gracious God, we witness the 62nd Medical Squadron change of command as Colonel Robert McCoy relinquishes command and Colonel Reed Orth assumes the responsibility of leading our team of mighty medics. As Bones departs, we pray that you will continue to guide and support him and his wife in the next assignment. Furthermore, we lift up the new commander, Colonel Orth, and pray that he will receive your wisdom to guide this team to greater accomplishments and greater service. Great Physician, bless this squadron that they may administer your care for all those in need and be for all of us a source of health and healing, that we may serve our nation and our world as practitioners of hope while our world awaits your peace. Amen.
Thank you, Honor Guard, Master Sergeant Thompson, and Chaplain Von Allman. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. At this time, it is my pleasure to introduce the official party for today's ceremony. Commander, 62nd Airlift Wing, Colonel David Fazenbaker. Outgoing Commander, 62nd Medical Squadron, Colonel Robert McCoy, accompanied by his wife Laura, daughter Jillianne, and grandchildren Jameson and Lorelei. Incoming Commander, 62nd Medical Squadron, Colonel Reed Orth, accompanied by his wife Annie and his daughters Lindley, Audrey, and Evelyn. At this time, I would like to introduce the distinguished guest joining us for today's ceremony. Please hold your applause until all guests have been introduced. Vice Commander, 62nd Airlift Wing, Colonel Brian Collins, accompanied by his wife, Melissa. Command Chief, 62nd Airlift Wing, Chief Master Sergeant Joe Arcey, accompanied by his wife, Major Jennifer Arcey. Commanding Officer, Madigan Army Medical Center, Colonel Scotty Roof. Commander, 446th Airlift Wing, Colonel Paul Skipworth. Commander, Western Air Defense Sector, Colonel Scott Humphrey. Commander, 627th Air Base Group, Colonel Patrick O'Sullivan, accompanied by his wife, Beth. Superintendent, 627th Air Base Group, Chief Master Sergeant Christopher Clark. Commander, 62nd Maintenance Group, Colonel Aaron Sasson. Superintendent, 62nd Maintenance Group, Chief Master Sergeant Dan Humbert. We would also like to extend a welcome to squadron commanders, chiefs, superintendents, first sergeants, members of the 62nd Medical Squadron, along with many family members and special friends of both Colonel McCoy and Colonel Orth. On behalf of the 62nd Medical Squadron, thank you all for joining us today. Ladies and gentlemen, I am proud to introduce Commander, 62nd Airlift Wing, Colonel David Fazenbaker.
All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome to a beautiful Pacific Northwest day, but it doesn't get much better when you have that beautiful airplane sitting behind us. It can be as cloudy as it has to be, but that airplane will brighten it up. First, a few thank yous. Lieutenant Cribb, thank you for putting this all together. This doesn't happen without you. We really, really appreciate it, and I know the time and effort put into here was a little extensive, so thank you very much. Chaplain Von Allman, as always, thank you for the invocation. And Sergeant Thompson, we talked yesterday at the practice. You said, hey, should I sing? And the secret is I never want to hear it because I want to be surprised whenever it happens, and I know that you're going to do amazing. Wow, like tremendous. So thank you very much for the national anthem here. Laura, welcome. Jillian, Jameson, Lorelei, thank you guys for being here. It's a big day today for your family, so we're glad you could be here to join us. We'd also like to welcome the Orth family. Annie, thanks for being here. Lindley, Audrey, and Evelyn, who is having the best time compared to all of us, so I hope she continues that. Thank you guys for being here. I know we have some folks joining us virtually as well. Donald Orth, Reed's father, and Mr. Donald Russ, Annie's father, is also attending, and there's some other friends that are out there virtually looking at us. Thank you all for being here. Colonel Roof, thanks for coming. Colonel Skipworth, Colonel Humphrey, Colonel O'Sullivan, Group Commanders, Colonel Sasson, Colonel Collins. Guys, thanks for being here and being part of the team here at the 62nd Airlift Wing. Today, we transfer the leadership of the 62nd Medical Squadron from Dr. Robert McCoy to Dr. Reed Orth. It's my honor to preside over the ceremony today, and despite his best efforts to remain in command for a fourth year, to include recently breaking a few ribs, Doc McCoy is here on stage. 3 years ago, Colonel McCoy inherited a squadron that was in turmoil. I'm told that skepticism was high during his first few weeks after the assumption of command, but through his leadership, which included his constant willingness to stop and listen, he quickly alleviated any lingering fears and fostered a culture of inclusion and professionalism. Over the past 3 years, he has transformed this clinic into a productive, patient-focused facility that has dramatically improved medical readiness rates and patient throughput throughout the wing. He's been a staunch advocate to the state of Washington for nurse licensure reciprocity, and he's helped guide the base through the COVID pandemic, where due to his monumental efforts of the team, we've consistently kept the lowest case rates in AMC. Our airmen in the 62nd Airlift Wing and the 62nd Medical Squadron are better because of Colonel McCoy. I've also been informed that he has a propensity to sing at commander's calls. No promises, that doesn't happen today. And I have also heard he's grown a pretty legitimate garden in his office. It's not often that we in the Air Force are privileged with a leader with such a breadth of experience and knowledge, and rarer still that the leader is placed at the right place at the right time. Doc, the 62nd Airlift Wing will miss you, and I know the families in Grand Fur will miss you and Laura and the rest of the family. The great thing about our Air Force is that we have other great leaders waiting to step in to lead organizations to new heights. Today, we're privileged to have one of those leaders to be the next commander of the 62nd Medical Squadron. Colonel Orth comes to us from Seymour Johnson Air Force Base, where he has served as the commander of both the Aerospace Medical Squadron and then as the Operational Medical Readiness Squadron. Prior to that, Dr. Orth was the commander of the 8th Medical Operations Squadron in Kunsan Air Base, South Korea. So you can tell that Colonel Orth is no stranger to command, and his previous success in command has brought him to us today. What the 62nd Medical Squadron gains in Colonel Orth is another leader, a leader that is already tested and a leader that has already succeeded at every step along the way. As you may have noted in the programs, Dr. Orth began his career as a spacecraft systems engineer. Yep, that's right, folks, rocket scientist. After a little bit of time as an ROTC instructor, then, he went off and got a PhD, as one does. Then went off to medical school. Colonel Orth found his way back to the Air Force medical community with assignments on a special ops surgical team and in the Pentagon working for the Deputy Undersecretary of Policy. Colonel Orth is a strategic leader. He's an accomplished physician, but most importantly, he's a model officer. He has an extensive operational background, unmatched educational credentials, but most importantly, he's a leader. He's perfect for this squadron, and he's perfect for our wing. Dr. Orth, Annie, Lindley, Audrey, Evelyn, welcome to the Pacific Northwest, welcome to JBLM, and welcome to the 62nd Airlift Wing. Thank you.
Thank you, Colonel Fazenbaker. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand as Colonel Fazenbaker presents the Meritorious Service Medal to Colonel McCoy.
Publish the order.
Attention to orders. Citation to accompany the award of the Meritorious Service Medal, 3rd Oak Leaf Cluster, to Colonel Robert P. McCoy from 2 July 2018 to 8 July 2021. Colonel Robert P. McCoy distinguished himself in the performance of outstanding service to the United States as Commander, 62nd Medical Squadron, 62nd Airlift Wing, Joint Base Lewis McChord, Washington. During this period, Colonel McCoy was responsible for the health care and readiness of 4,000 active duty Air Force members while overseeing a budget of $7.5 million. Additionally, as Commander and Certified Medical Authority, he underwent 2 nuclear surety inspections, resulting in the highest ratings in 62nd Airlift Wing history. His leadership during the height of the COVID-19 pandemic was critical in ensuring the health safety of the wing, thus facilitating the largest airlift of nuclear weapons in its history. Colonel McCoy also served as the Adjunct Medical Director for the 1st Corps Medical Simulation Training Center, overseeing the training of 3,500 Army combat medics. Furthermore, as Director of the Puget Sound Medical Health System, he oversaw 285,000 beneficiaries and coordinated management of a $728 million budget and was the sole Air Force representative on senior executive committees at Madigan Army Medical Center, reviewing medical policies, ensuring compliance with Air Force regulations. Finally, Colonel McCoy liaised with Tanker and Airlift Command Center and Transcom Aeromedical Evacuation Cell, facilitating the arrival of an extracorporeal membrane oxygenation team to Madigan Army Medical Center, saving a soldier's life. The singularly distinctive accomplishments of Colonel McCoy reflect great credit upon himself and the United States Air Force. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, the Commander, 62nd Medical Squadron, Colonel Robert P. McCoy.
Good morning, everyone. I'd really like to thank Lieutenant Cribb, Sergeant Earls for planning all this. They started this months ago. Again, this doesn't happen in a vacuum. Sergeant Thompson, wherever she may be at, thank you for singing the anthem. Chaplain Von Allman, again, thank you for the benediction. Really appreciated your support, particularly during COVID and additional times. I'd like to thank our distinguished guests for joining in this ceremony. Colonel Fazenbaker, thank you for being here, and your daughter. Colonel Collins and Melissa, Chief, Colonel Roofs, Paul, appreciate you being here. Aaron, Sully, Scott, thank you all for being here. Other commanders, other friends and families, thank you for being here and sharing in this. I've written this down in case I can't get through it, so I'll try the best that I can here. Wow, what an adventure the last 3 years have been. When I first arrived here, the challenge we initially faced was a nuclear surety inspection. For those of you who aren't familiar with how important these inspections are, these are kind of things that can get commanders fired very quickly for not doing well on these inspections. The men and women of the MDS rose to the challenge, helped the wing achieve their highest score in an NSI ever. That was the first one. Next came winter and Snowmageddon. Who would have thought here in Washington that the base would be closed for days because of snowfall here? I remember being out in the cul-de-sac and all of us chipping in, trying to shovel everyone out. I remember piling all the snow in front of Colonel Curran, the previous wing commander's front porch. Yes, that was my doing. Next came the UEI for our unit and the wing, which we had the fewest write-ups ever. Who would have thought that after that, sinkholes would then appear on the runway, and now we would have to provide medical care in 3 different geographic areas. Next came a second NSI. Again, you stepped up, providing the wing with their now best score ever and the least number of write-ups in the wing history. I'd been having some knee pain during this whole entire time, and of course I underwent a replacement towards the end of February. Guess what happened right after I had that surgery? The pandemic occurred. I think I had one of the last surgeries performed at Madigan, and unfortunately, I was laid up for a couple weeks. Lieutenant Colonel Ayers and Captain Jordan had to step up and fill in for me, not only to advise the wing commander, but also the I Corps commander, General George. Captain Jordan became to be known otherwise as Dr. Jordan for her advice. She was an epidemiologist, in case folks don't know that, and she advised him on multiple occasions for COVID early on, and he was the person that he would turn to. He would turn to her for any advice and opinions first. Fortunately for me, both Colonel Ayers and Captain Jordan became the face of the MDS for all the Facebook Lives. That kept me off the video, and I greatly appreciate that. I kind of felt like I threw them under the bus, planning to have the surgery before all this stuff occurred. But they stepped up and did this and continued to do that for me. During this whole entire time, it was kind of interesting because we would sit there and ask AMC for guidance. We would sit there and filter up our questions. Eventually, those questions would get filtered back to us and ask, hey, what are you guys doing? And then when that information, that guidance would come back down through is what we were doing. So we really led the way in regards to the pandemic. And of course, because of the efforts here, again, as mentioned earlier, we had the lowest infection rates of any AMC base. During this time, we were also tasked to help support the Patriot Express mission at SeaTac. We had to provide secondary screeners and providers oversight. There were a lot of many sleepless nights, particularly early on. But again, the folks in the MDS stepped up, including folks from admin and bio were doing the secondary screening up at SeaTac, and they volunteered graciously to do that. What a team we have here at McCord. With all these challenges, of course, came multiple awards. If I were to name them all, I'd probably be here till tomorrow, so I won't do that, okay? We did have several Air Force level winners, numerous AMC level awards, even more Wing and Team McCord level awards. In 2020, we won 4 out of the 5 of the awards at the Aerospace Medical Association awards that they give out annually. The only reason we didn't win the 5th one is we didn't submit a package for the 5th one. I'm sure if we'd have submitted a package, we'd have done a Queen Suite. I would get comments from the wing commander and the chief all the time saying how many times I have to come over to present awards and what a great opportunity it was. When you keep in mind all the awards that we won, we did this with only 73 roughly active duty members. We compete against MTFs like Travis with over several thousand, but we sat there, you sat there, and won those awards. And it's a compliment on what you guys bring to the team here at McCord, and I'm proud of each and every one of you, and I've been honored to serve with you. I'd like to thank Colonel Roof particularly for being a good friend and supporter of the clinic. I've really valued it. I also enjoyed the time we spent in the simulator together. I will be talking about that for quite a while. Miss Carla and Miss Juanita, I would really like to thank you for keeping me straight and keeping me out of trouble as much as that is ever possible. My wife can attest to that, what a chore it is. I also appreciate the fact that you put up with my bad dad jokes and any time that I'd break out in a random song. So thank you very much. I would especially like to thank my family. I think it's fitting that Jillian and Jameson are here. They were here at the start of my command, and of course, here at the end of my command. Unfortunately, it took me breaking 2 ribs to get him here this time. Lorelei, thank you for being here. You weren't here initially, but you're here now, and I'm glad that you are. Laura, I know I'd not be here without you. There are not enough words that I can sit there and express my thanks for you. It's because of you that I have the successes that I've had, the wonderful family that I have, and the support that we have. So I want to thank you very much. Finally, I would like to leave you with a quote. I know most people would quote famous leaders and that kind of stuff, but everyone knows there I'm a little different. I would like to quote Winnie the Pooh. How lucky I am to have something that makes saying goodbye so hard. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Colonel McCoy. The 62nd Medical Squadron will now render a final salute to Colonel McCoy. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the change of command. Attention to orders. By order of the Secretary of the Air Force and under the provisions of Air Force Instruction 51-604, Colonel McCoy relinquishes command and Colonel Orth is appointed commander of the 62nd Medical Squadron, McCord Field, Joint Base Lewis-McChord, Washington, Special Order Number G-2021-12, effective 8 July 2021.
Sir, I assume command.
Please be seated. The 62nd Medical Squadron will now render their first salute to Colonel Orth. Ladies and gentlemen, Commander, 62nd Medical Squadron, Colonel Reed Orth.
Good morning. I'd like to thank everyone for coming today, for those who helped set up this wonderful ceremony. To start off with the distinguished visitors, Colonel Fazenbaker, Colonel Roof, Colonel Collins, group commanders, spouses, squadron commanders, chiefs, superintendents, first shirts, and all other staff. It's a privilege and honor to work with you and to serve as your squadron commander. My wife, Annie, and my 3 children, Lindley, Audrey, Evie, and I are excited to join Team Lewis McCord. I send a special hello to my father, Donald Orth, my in-laws, Donald and Leslie Russ, and my other family members, Dave, Laurie, Roger, Dana, nieces and nephews. JBLM has a reputation of having the best airmen and soldiers in the Department of Defense. I look forward to working with all of you and our esteemed joint partners at Madigan and other organizations across JBLM to make the joint force and dynamic force employment a reality. I'm excited about the opportunities ahead and to work with leaders at all levels who go above and beyond every day. According to Confucius, the will to win, the desire to succeed, the urge to reach your full potential. These are the skills that will unlock the door to excellence. These are the values central to JBLM's personnel, as they have a warrior ethos. Not content with simply getting by, rather they provide truly remarkable work exceeding expectations. I look forward to joining the 62nd Medical Squadron, Madigan, and other JBLM units as they excel through teamwork. It is exciting to think about the opportunities that await, being immersed in a team of teams, working in unison to tackle issues confronted, navigate obstacles, and make steady and deliberate advances. As Henry Ford stated, coming together is a beginning, staying together is progress, and working together is success. With your spirit of teamwork, success is inevitable. I strive to carry on the key attributes that Colonel McCoy has started. He listed so many, it's quite impressive what was done. And if you happen to hear people cheering me on, that's my family up here. And I want to continue working at the same level of perseverance and dedication when he confronted the challenges that were faced to him. Perseverance is not a long race. It is many short races, one after another. The world as we knew it changed more rapidly over the past year than it has in our whole lifetimes. With these changes, I heard you continuously adapted and overcame and persevered. With your unwavering focus, you've maintained a high level of medical readiness, enabling more airmen and soldiers to be fit to fight, so unit commanders can have more options in their arsenal. more high-caliber airmen and soldiers in their chambers to choose from for the mission and to deploy. As a family man, I understand the value of character in addition to work performance. My vision is to help every airman and soldier I work with and those that we serve throughout JBLM to not just survive, rather to thrive. To enable them to unleash their talents, innovate, and become the best version of themselves, and help equip them with what they need to succeed in their finest hour. So a special thanks to my family for supporting me and making all this possible. Seeing you and being with you is a high point of every day. I ask now that the gifts be deployed. My family is my strength and they're always at my side. And thank you so much. I love you all. Thank you again for entrusting me with this position, and I look forward to working with all of you.
Thank you, Colonel Orth. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand and join us in singing the Air Force song and remain standing for the departure of the official party. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes our change of command ceremony. You are all invited to a reception located at the rear of the hangar in honor of Colonel Orth and his family.